From the 1011 Now streaming studio, this is The Night Beat.
Good evening, I'm Danielle Shenk with your headlines for Friday, January 31st. Starting with a scary situation in Seward, a pickup driver suffered a medical episode and crashed into a building just before 2 p.m. The driver jumped the curb, hitting two fire hydrants and another car before crashing into the St. John Child Development Center near Concordia University. Two workers and both people in the truck were hospitalized. Thankfully, 8 napping children were safely evacuated. The Nebraska State Patrol is assisting with the investigation. After months of warnings, 140 ITC federal workers in Lincoln are being laid off today, impacting over a third of the workforce. Despite protests and union efforts to prevent the cuts, the layoffs raise concerns about worsening the national backlog of immigration paperwork.
We are the people processing the paperwork, the applications, the petitions for people to be here legally, to go through the process, to be here and live here the correct way. If anything, we should be funded way more than we currently are because we have a huge backlog.
Severance packages were not granted to those laid off. The union fears more layoffs may be ahead. Now to the unicameral, where despite Nebraska voters overwhelmingly approving paid sick leave, a new bill could exempt certain workers. The Nebraska Healthy Families Workplace Act, effective October 1st, requires businesses with 20 or fewer employees to offer at least 5 days of paid sick leave and businesses with more than 20 employees to offer 7 days. LB 698 would exclude temporary or seasonal agricultural workers, anyone under 16, and businesses with 10 or fewer employees from the law. Two bills on the death penalty were also discussed today. LB 15CA seeks to amend Nebraska's constitution to end the death penalty, replacing it with life in prison for those sentenced to death. If passed, it will be submitted for approval in next year's general election. Meanwhile, LB 432 proposes using nitrogen gas for executions with a protocol managed by the Department of Corrections. Nebraska's last execution was in 2018. And on the lighter side, senators debated two bills related to daylight saving time. LB 302 would eliminate daylight saving time and keep standard time year-round, making evenings darker earlier but mornings brighter. Meanwhile, LB 34 would keep daylight saving time year-round, meaning darker mornings but lighter evenings for longer. Lastly, plans are moving forward to sell alcohol at Nebraska's Memorial Stadium. Next Friday, the Board of Regents will vote on a 10-year concessions deal with Aramark Sports, which will invest $10 million in new equipment. The deal covers all UNL athletic facilities, with alcohol sales projected to generate $5.8 million annually, doubling concessions revenue. Aramark was chosen for its experience in alcohol sales. Rounding out your night beat is a check of the 7-day forecast.
You've been listening to The Night Beat. Watch, listen, and stream on the 1011 app on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.